One of the things we should talk about proper English pronunciation. This is a chart I used last week, so we're going to ignore the top side. Here's the bottom side of a few verbs, okay, that we're discussing. Remember, we want to be able to talk English good and also talk Hebrew good. Very important. So let's learn something about over here. Here is two common Hebrew verbs, Vayashev and Vayeshev. Okay, where these occur? What does this mean? Where is it from? And then in last week's parsha, we have a word that looks like it, and over here there's supposed to be a patach underneath the yud and a patach underneath the vav, but for some reason their mamish right against each other, and the yud's patach is over to the right. But you should read this as vayashev. Also, there should be a dagesh in the shin, and for some reason, even though you see all the dageshim over here, this dagesh is basically in the middle arm of the shin, but there should be a dagesh in that shin over there. I don't know why it appears funny. All the other dageshim, you see them over here. So what is the difference between the word vayashev and vayashev? And especially for modern Israelis and Sfardim who pronounce the patach and the kamatz basically the same, and the segol and the tzerei basically the same. If you're nice and American, the way you should be, so you would read this as yashev, and this is yashev. So you hear the difference right away. Everybody hears in the American synagogue, they know a person reading a kamatz and a patach. They hear the difference, and also between the difference between the tzerei and the segol. They're quite clear. But in modern Hebrew and Sephardic, they're basically the same, and the only difference is the ta'am, which is the accented syllable. So in this case, down here, the accented syllable is the last one, the one with the shin, whereas in this case, it's mil-el, it's the first syllable. What are these words? Let's see. The root in this case is shin vav vet, or some people say a yud in the middle, or maybe nothing in the middle. Okay, we like to use the three root system. This is basically the idea of returning. Okay? And the polyp means for one to return. In the hifil, the causative, it means to give something back or to retrieve something. In modern Hebrew, they use basically the Aramaic influenced shoresh chet zayin resh. Chazar means return instead of shav, and hechazir instead of heshiv. Okay, what are you going to do? All of these verbs are conjugated in the masculine singular, okay, to keep it simple. So you have the infinitive of this would be lehashiv, to return something. The imperative would be hashev, hashev shechina thachal l'sion. And the present tense is meshiv. You've probably heard that word a few times. The past tense would be hey shiv. The future tense would be yashiv. Okay, pretty simple. What do we have? Vava yipuch, we saw, takes the future tense and puts a vav with a patach in front of it and a dagesh in the prefix, and also switches the ta'am. So this word would be yashiv. How you say he returned. In normal past tense, it's heshiv. With vava yipuch biblical style, which makes a difference between regular past and past perfect. Okay, you have this form. From yashiv becomes vayashev. And if you're asking, wait a minute, so you change the tam, yeah, because this is an open syllable, the tam, the accented syllable, is shifted from the shin to the yud, and the full chirik sound is downgraded to a segol. Really, it could be any sound over here, but this is empathetic because it's a closed, unaccented syllable. After the accented syllable, the empathetic vowel is just a segol. If this middle letter was a yud, for example, you could expect to find a chirik underneath it. Or if it was a guttural letter, one of these were a guttural letter, you'd expect to find a patach over here. But because these are two ordinary consonants, the epenthetic vowel that fills the syllable is a segol. So this is vayashev. He returned something, or he retrieved it. And if you were wanting to take a past tense form, heshiv, and make a future tense, veheshiv, okay, with the simple vav haipuch over here. Veheshivet hagazela, he shall return the stolen object. This is a little bit related. Instead of a vav in the middle of the shorish, you have a yud in front, and this means sitting. Okay, lashevet, or in Chazal's word, leishev. The imperative form is shave. Everybody knows that. The present tense, yoshev, yashav. Future tense, yeshev. And once again, if you're making a vava yipuch, you're taking this future tense and wanting to turn to a past tense form. So you stick a vav with a patach in front, a dagesh in the yud, and you get vayeshev. And once again, the ta'am, The accented syllable shifts from the shin to the yud because there's an open syllable here, so it could take it. And the tseirei is once again downgraded to a smaller vowel, just a segol, vayeshev. And if you want to say future tense with vav hipuch, you take the past tense yashav, he sat, uyashav, okay, and he shall sit, and that's also a verb that's quite common in the Tanakh and the Torah. This is an uncommon verb, but this is one that actually has a big nafkamina today. This is the verb nashav, okay, meaning, for example, ruach noshavet, the wind is blowing, okay, it means blowing something, causing air to move, and it has a hifiel form. And in the hifiel form, you stick a hey or some other prefix usually in front. And because the nun is the beginning of the shoresh, the nun drops off in many conjugations. And because the nun is dropping off, you stick a dot in the shin to compensate for the missing nun. So in this case, the imperative word would be hashev. Okay? It was originally hanshev, but the nun disappears. So you just emphasize the shin and say hashev. Look very closely. The difference between these two imperatives is very slight. And it's very important to hear it if you're American and saying it right. So you'll hear the komats, ha shave. And this is ha shave. But really, you're also supposed to emphasize the shin, geminate the shin. If you're speaking modern Hebrew or Sephardic, so the hays sound the same. This is ha shave and this is ha shave. What are you going to do? So if you're doing it Sephardic style, you'll have to make sure to geminate the shin to indicate the patach. Okay, that was like the first time a Sephardic guy came into the Yeshivish Ashkenazic minyan here at Tel Zion in Parshas B'Shalach back in 2009, where the Baal Kriya said, Talinu, properly. Ki Talinu, you're complaining against us. Talinu, and he said it properly. And the fellow in the crowd corrected him and says, Talinu. You're supposed to say Talinu, Ki Talinu, complaining. Talinu means we hung something. He said it with the patach, Talinu. And the Sephardic guy heard Talinu, but without the geminated lamed. He didn't emphasize lamed. He said Talinu. And everybody quieted him down. Why are you correcting him? We all heard a patach. We know it's a patach. It means complaining, not Talinu with the kamats, because if he meant with the kamats, which would be a mistake, we would have heard ta, not ta. So he doesn't have to also geminate the lamed. But the Sephardic guy hears no difference between ta and ta. It's all ta to him. So for him, the only difference would be in the lamed. Let's continue over here. Hashev, and the infinitive would be la hashiv. Once again, it looks like this over here. This looks like that, but the difference is patach and the dagesh in the shin. By the way, another example was the bracha on tefillin. Shulchan Aruch says leha niach, and the Maimonidean tradition is lehan niach, a patach and a dagesh in the nun. We've discussed that before. Here you have mashiv, as in mashiva ruach and rida geshem, or gashem, as it may be. The past tense would be hishiv with a chirik, not hey shiv, but hishiv. And the future is yashev. Yashev rucho yizalu mayim. He causes his breath to blow, his wind to blow. So that looks a little bit different. And the past tense made with a vav hipuch using this verb is vayashev. So you're going to ask, wait a minute. So why doesn't the accented shift? Because the yud has a closed syllable. Okay, yashev. The yud is not possessing an open syllable like the rest of these with the tenua gedola. So even though we would want to shift the accentage back to the yud, we cannot. So this verb stays as vayashev. So it's not vayashev, it's vayashev. It's slightly different. And I guess past to future with vav hipuch would be hishiv. I don't know of any examples of this in the Tanakh, but perhaps someone could find it. The last question was, so someone came and said, okay, vayashev, vayeshev. Why is vayetze not vayetze? It's vayetze. Could be vayetze. Why isn't it mil el like the others? It means that's taking the word yatzah, the verb yatzah, taking the future tense yetze and adding a vav hipuch, and you get vayetze. Why is it vayetze? It should be vayetze based on everything we've saying. The yud is an open syllable. It has a tenua gedola there. There's no dagesh in the tzadi. Why can't we turn that into the accent syllable? The answer is this rule doesn't apply when you have a silent aleph at the end of the shoresh. Okay, that silent syllable, that silent aleph makes it that the final syllable of the word vayetze is an open syllable, and you can't put an empathetic vowel in there. So it stays as a full tse. So vayetze, and the same is true vayavo. It should be vayavo. Sometimes it could be because of nasoga chor, but the general verb is wayavo, milra. Why not put the accent on the yud? Ya, wayavo. Why can't you do that? And the answer is because you have a silent aleph at the end of the at the end of the last syllable, and it has to have a tenua gedolah there. You cannot minimize its vowel into some sort of epithetic, so it doesn't allow for that.